It says I'm live, so I believe I'm live. What the hell was that? That was, and I've seen a lot of them. I think we've all have, but I've definitely can harken back to some horrible offensive or just lack thereof performances, or again, lack thereof by this Bills team. And that was one of the worst that I've ever seen. It was that piss poor. The team could not muster anything under the I don't even know what to call it, with Nathan Peterman at the helm. Offensively, I don't think any amount of skill positions, line quality could muster anything, because the guy is just simply not an NFL quarterback, and trying to evaluate anything this team does or doesn't do with him or Derek Anderson under center is just futile at its finest, or futility at its finest. It's all about waiting for Josh Allen to get back under center. Glean as much from him as you possibly can in the last 6 games, because I believe we're going to see him after the bye. They're probably going to ramp up his practice this week and then want to have 2 full weeks to get him ready for Jacksonville. Yeah, you're right, Matthew. Nothing means anything till Allen comes back. It won't. It won't. I mean, but we're Bills fans. We're going to watch this. We're going to suffer through this, and it really is. It is unbelievable how offensively, and they are just that. They're the only team in the NFL to not score 100 points. They have not scored 100 offensive points, and that's, with turnovers, short fields, field goals, whatever. They have not put up 100 points in totality. They are, I think, one of the only 2, but they lead the league in point differential in the negative. Obviously, I think it's 144. They were trying to give them. It was horrible, Christian. You're going to waste your time. It's not worth watching. I'm watching, dude, everybody. I'm sitting here literally the start of the 3rd quarter, and it just gets worse. I start playing Dead Red Redemption 2. That's what I did. I was like, the game was on my computer, and I started playing Red Dead Redemption 2 because the game was just that bad. What are you watching? It's like, just like Matthew said, why am I watching till Nathan Peterman play quarterback for the Bills? It means nothing. The guy is not an NFL quarterback to even talk about this team offensively, and it's just terrible. And until Allen gets back, it's really like, what are we doing? We're doing what we do. We watch the Bills. That's it. But it is painfully obvious this team needs an infusion of talent across the board offensively. And I'm talking, I can only think about 2 starters on this current team offensively, and that's Deion Dawkins and Josh Allen. Everybody else, maybe Zay Jones. I don't know if he's a starter, but he could be a 3rd receiver. But this team needs receivers. They need a tight end. They need offensive linemen. They need a running back. They need it all. They need it all in bunches, because these receivers get 0 separation, and maybe they do the quarterback's arm today. I mean, why Nathan Peterman is not a starting quarterback? There was 49 attempts worth of it, and the guy couldn't even pop 150 yards. In garbage yards. He couldn't even do that. Consistently, the ball once passed 15 yards, 12 yards, between 12 to 15, you saw the ball start to flutter. He has nothing on that ball after that distance. And defenses just squat on everything. They don't respect any of the receivers to get past them or challenge them or separate from them. They show no respect for one player on that Bills offense. Not one. Not a one. And when Nathan Peterman is the quarterback of the team, it's even worse because the guy's arm is dreadful. He should have been pulled. That was his Trent Edwards moment right there for me. And I've had many Trent Edwards moments with quarterbacks. It's just the first 2 interceptions, you could say they weren't his fault, but the guy is just a turnover machine. There's no other way to put it. Nathan Peterman, you put him out there, he's good for 2.5 turnovers a game. And today it was just masterclass of what we've seen from him, and it's only going to get worse. The guy is he's a punchline. That's what Nathan Peterman is. I'm sorry to say it, nice guy or not, he's a punchline. It is just that bad with this poor kid. And the Bills need to do him a favor and just take him out to pasture and not allow him to ever play a game in this uniform again. They really, and again, I don't even know why I'm wasting my breath, but to watch that guy play a full football game, this was his first time completing a game. His first time completing a game as a quarterback in a game he started, and he was dreadful. Dreadful. And they really need to reevaluate everything that they've done in terms of what their process was in evaluating the quarterbacks, the offense, everything. This staff needs to be completely blown up. They are, Eric. They're stiffs. I said before when I started the video, there's 2 starters on this offense right now, maybe 3. Maybe Zay's your 3rd receiver. You know, he shows like he has a little bit of a pulse, but my God, Benjamin, 0 compete, 0. The offensive line, they look like a bunch of they look like a bunch of stiffs out there. They play with 0 balls, 0 tenacity. I mean, dude, props to me. I was playing Red Dead Redemption most of the second half. I was literally sitting there playing, enjoying, riding around, hunting shit and shooting shit and fucking watching. And I would just be like, it was nothing. It was nothingness. They couldn't even gain yards in garbage time. And the score looks a lot worse than it is. But in actuality, it's not. Even though they gifted the Bears like 17 or 20 points via turnovers. You know, one time on the long kick return, I think did they get a field goal off that or something like that? And the special teams has been deplorable too. They get nothing out of that unit. And I think Danny Crossman's time with the Bills needs to come to an end because I'm sick of hearing the importance of that shit because they've gotten nothing but shit from that unit. The only unit the Bills and when the defense doesn't get a chance to do anything, we see games like this. They get no respite. They get no reprieve. They get no support from the offense, more so. And then the special teams has just been dreadful. Dreadful. To not score 100 points in 9 NFL games is terrible. It's terrible. This team needs a complete overhaul offensively. And that includes coaches. They cannot return that offensive coaching staff in totality. It needs to be completely revamped. They need to if they're going to bring Daboll back as offensive coordinator, they need to let him have complete autonomy over it and its staff. He needs to have his own people in there because yeah, I said that. I was like, dude, I felt like the game was over, and it was. It was over. It was over at 7-0. I'm like, this game's over at 7-0. That's how dire it is for this team. It is truly over at 7-0. And that is a horrible feeling to have. And you know what? Some of those players have to know it too. Some of those players, particularly the veterans, have to know it too, that this offense just cannot muster a damn thing. They get 0 traction because you're constantly waiting for it. Every time Peterman drop back, you are waiting for it. You're waiting for that bingo. You're waiting for it. Can they really? I don't think they'll make the change because what can you get from this year? The team offensively at quarterback has been snake bit with injuries. What can you get from a guy that has so little to work with? And if you want to blow out another coordinator, I don't know what that does when there's so little to. It's that these receivers are the worst. I don't know if I've ever seen a worse group of receivers. And I mean, I don't know. I wasn't even excited to see Terrell Pryor because it's like, okay, Nathan Peterman's the quarterback. You have to watch Nathan Peterman play quarterback. The guy can't throw a ball past 12 yards. And you saw once he started trying to get the ball down, if he could, and he was holding on to the ball too long. And like I believe Matthew just said, that run at the Hail Mary opportunity at the end of the half, he would have not been the quarterback to come out. That would have been it. I'd have been like, dude, because that's him already saying, I don't want to have another INT on my resume. And that's him playing scared, and I don't want any part of that. It's bad enough that he's already playing quarterback because the team is in a bind, but the fact that he ran out of he'd rather have taken off knowing he wasn't going to do anything of note on that play rather than put another INT on his resume. That was once a guy gives you that just shows you where his head is at. You need to retire him. You need to make the decision for him. You cannot play. He should. I mean, obviously they didn't want to play him in this game. They had no choice. But still, it would have been like, okay, Barkley on 3 days practices, you're going out there for the second half. That would have been it for him. They are. They're trash. They're nothing to be sorry about, right? They're offensive trash. It is a trash offense. This is as bad as an offense. I mean, I don't think they're going to sign Sam Bradford. I think you'll see Anderson clear protocol this week probably. They'll roll into another week with this Jets game. They'll start Anderson. They'll put Peterman back up. And then once Allen gets cleared, ready to go, hopefully for the Jags, they'll release Peterman, maybe throw him on the practice squad or not. Hopefully they just jettison him into a complete and utter oblivion because I can't watch. I can't watch that. You could have had him starting at quarterback too. I mean, I thought about it for a quick second. I was surprised he didn't see, but he knew so little of the offense. It was, what are you going to do? But it couldn't have been any worse. It couldn't have been any worse. And when you hear some of the Bills media, can I go off on this for a quick second? Can I have another little tangent? There's a lot of Bills media out there. And there's a good segment of fans, but there's some Bills media. Can you stop sucking Khalil Mack's cock? Can you stop with the bromance with Khalil Mack? It's like they line up on their knees for this guy. There's a line of Bills media on their knees waiting to service Khalil Mack orally. The guy is not a Buffalo Bill. Get over it. They traded up to get Sammy Watkins. If they would have traded up to get Khalil Mack when the team was crying for offense, as it still is, with then Mario Williams and Jerry Hughes on the edges, they would have been crying bloody murder. Oh, my God. Bring Khalil Mack home. Yeah, every fucking time this guy – I understand the guy is from Fort Pierce, Florida. He went to UB because they're the only school that offered him anything. Great. But stop with it. Some of these fans just bellyache. Oh, please, with this guy. I mean, it makes me not like the guy. And he seems like the most likable guys there is, but it makes me not like him. I'm like, would you stop with Khalil Mack? Every fucking time is Khalil Mack this, Khalil Mack that. Just shut the fuck up. He plays for the Bears. He's loving watching your precious team get their ass handed to him. He didn't even play. It was just sickening to see the litany of tweets and retweets and subtweets about this guy already. Great. He played at UB. Be proud. But leave it the fuck alone already. We know he played at UB. It's such small-time mentality. Such a small-time mentality. Like schools like Alabama and the big schools, they just isn't UB trying to be up and coming? Aren't they trying to? Yeah, he's not even. Aren't they up and coming? Aren't they like on the up? That they have Tyreek Jackson, they have the Khalil Hodge, they have Anthony Johnson, they have a bunch of good players they should be proud of right now that are going to go in the NFL. This guy's been gone from the school. Granted, he's been great, but Jesus Christ, they're 8-1. Be proud of that. Be proud of that. Yeah, they're 8-1. Be proud of that. I like Chicago. Chicago's a nice city. I'd be happy too. Fucking making all that money, shit. But still, I just had to say that because every time I see this about Khalil Mack, it's like, you know what? And I'll be honest with you, I think he's going to end up playing for the Bills at some point. At the end of this contract, when they release him and have the Bears, I'll have to eat a lot of the bad money. He'll probably sign a couple-of-year deal, you know, one of those end-of-the-line deals with the Bills as a situational player in some capacity. I could just see that happening. You know, at a nominal base salary, depending on how good he is or isn't physically, but still. Speaking of lack thereof, back to this Bills offense, which needs an infusion of talent across the board. You can start anywhere. You can make an argument for any position. Until Josh Allen gets back, Deion Dawkins, outside of those two, you can make an argument for any position. They don't need Colin Kaepernick. That's a distraction that no team's going to take on. The guy wasn't good in his last 2 years. He's been out of football going on 3 years. Hasn't taken a hit in that amount of time. He doesn't know the offense. What is his physical state like? What is his mental state? It's just a narrative people love throwing around because they want to slip their politics into it. And this is not a political forum. And I won't let it be that, because it's just that's all people do. Any liberal with an agenda throws they use Colin Kaepernick. They don't care about Colin Kaepernick's cause. They use him as a sounding board for their own causes. So I'm not gonna have that. It would be Colin Kaepernick would be like putting up a wound on that needs a Band-Aid on a wound that needs stitches. You know what? I really, I probably would have done the same thing, but I understand why they didn't, Eric, because they want to have something in the way of hopefully a player that can help Allen. I mean, Shady was open for a touchdown on the wheel route, wide open, and Nathan Peterman threw the ball. I believe it was to Benjamin, went clear over his head. That's obvious. That's obvious. He's anybody's better than Peterman, but that's who they were going to stroll out because they had no choice to. My issue was in week 1, they had a choice and they chose Peterman. That fucking concerned me greatly. And he, however he won or the starting, they're not tanking. It's tank mode. The tank is I don't think they wanted to be this bad. I don't think you could ever plan on being this bad. It's just being this bad is it's an act of God. It just happens. They're not going to fire McDermott. McDermott will not be fired. And fire McDermott, who are you bringing in? Who's going to come to Buffalo? Who's the Messiah? Who's the panacea? Give me the name, because if you have and don't say anybody. Anybody's better than the guy you have now, because you know what? You're not going to make another change at OC. You're not going to fire McDermott. You got to have some sort of stability. John Fox, the dinosaur John Fox, who just got fired in Chicago. That sounds great. Yeah, his successor was across the field today, and Matt Nagy. So yeah, that would be funny. No, it's not him. It's not any of these old cruddy fuddy-duddies that you got in the back room and you have to dust off and just put some oil on the joints. None of those types. This team it doesn't matter who the coach is. There's no talent on this offense. And a lot of guys that I think that they hoped would perform for them are completely flatlining. It's just that bad. I don't think it'll take years. I think it takes talent, and they're devoid of it. And if you look at the history of this team, and let's just take out, you have to have the drought, right? 17 years of futility. They've had 2 top 5 picks twice. You think a team and that's been their problem, is that they've been so middling for so long that they never got a chance at top end talent. They were never really in good cap position. They've never been in good draft position. And when they were the 2 times, it was used on fat slobs. Mike Williams, who ate his way out of the league, and Marcel Darius, who's just a waste of talent, a complete and utter waste of talent. And yeah, they need four impact signings on offense. You could argue they need to use their top 3 draft choices, whether the first, second, and third on offense. And now with their record, they have good waiver position. They need to, if they feel like anything avails itself on that wire, they need to jump on it ASAP. From now all the way up into the middle of next year, when the waiver wire resets, I think it's between week 6 or week 8, sometime around then. They need, it's not even that they're drafting too low, it's they're drafting right in the middle. They're drafting right in the middle. It's always in between 9, 12. A few years they'll get to like 19. I think it was one year they had 20. Never good enough to get the premier talent, the talent that's really going to change something, that's transcendent. They just never have. Tyrod was not the reason they made the playoffs. Tyrod was a component of it, but what Tyrod would do is just man the ship, but man the ship in a way that he would enable you to lose and not win. You can't. He wasn't going to take you anywhere. Tyrod is not going to take the Bills anywhere. If they need to have this kind of season, they can have this kind of season. I'm okay with it, but I can't watch Nathan Peterman play quarterback for this team. That's my point. I don't care about a 2-9 season. Josh Allen playing is what I care about, and he's not playing right now. So it's like nothing matters. We could have ended the video like that, honestly. We could have honestly said, well, none of this matters till Josh Allen gets back on the field. None of this matters. And I saw some stats somewhere, somebody put it out there, that the Bills have the fewest draft picks prior to 2017 on their team. And if you look at it, I think one is actually Kyle Williams, and I forget the other. It's wow. Shaq Lawson, Miller, who's gone, who's just terrible. So yeah, they really don't have much homegrown. He's a 5th round pick. He makes probably like 550, 600K. I have no idea what his game checks are. He's not a player that's going to hit you in the pocketbook. That's why once Anderson and they can get the pecking order at quarterback right between Anderson and Allen, because I believe that's the way they want to set it up. Peterman will be on the practice squad, or he'll just be outright released, and they'll just bring in another guy to take that, because I think that's what they need to do. They just need to give this guy, if he can get one, which I don't know, a fresh start somewhere else. They just need to remove him from their, just from their shadow. They really need to make that happen, because it's embarrassing just to have him around. I don't know who that is, but maybe he is. I don't know. Yeah, the game was horribly officiated. It was terrible. It was boring. The flags that weren't thrown were the worst. Yeah, Chad Kelly. Okay, Chad Kelly is right where he's going to be for a really long time, on the couch somewhere, because he's shot him. The guy could have probably been a player in this league and probably would be close to playing, but he blew it. He blew it, and that's it. So you can't count on him. You can't play. That's where he's at. I mean, he had his uncle do, pull one too many favors for him to get him this far, and it's because they're changing everything. The reason the officiating is so bad is because you got a bunch of people over here, Fifth Avenue, New York, okay, that just sit around a round table to give themselves jobs and create things to justify their existence and make their money. Okay, it happens in every walk of life, in every branch of life. They sit around and just try to devise ways to create new rules. And nobody knows what athletes in real time don't know what they're doing or are trying to adjust in real time. You've got a bunch of old men who sell insurance or whatever else they do, are semi-retired professionals trying to officiate these guys, and it's terrible because there's no consistency in the rules. There's no consistency in the way the rules are called because the league is constantly pulling back or pushing a rule on these guys. So they're constantly getting mixed messages. They're constantly just succumbing to outside pressure and outside noise. Well, everybody's screaming bloody murder about this rule. Don't throw the flag too much. Well, oh my God, we had a guy get hit in the head and he laid on the field for a certain amount of time and it upset a bunch of people. So now we have to call this rule more heavily. So that's what happens. I hope that's not the case big time. I know it sounds funny, but it's just if they just want points, they want big plays, but it's a collision sport. You have guys weigh in excess of 200 plus, on the low end. And then on the high end, you've got 275. I'm talking guys you can see that can run and hit, and they hit guys. Things are going to sometimes look ugly. That's foot-pounds of energy per second. Something's going to give. That's just the way it happens. That's the game. It says it on the back of the helmet. It says it on the back of the Pee Wee helmet I put on as a kid. I knew that the sport was dangerous, and that's why I wanted to play it. If it was safe, I would be like, no, I play flag football. I want to play the one where I get to hit things. That's it. These are big boys. I think they know how bad the offense is. Internally, you cannot believe that they don't realize that the offense is a complete and utter epic disaster internally. If they don't, everybody's in trouble. But I think that they know they're in bad shape offensively. And they have to allocate almost every resource they have this offseason towards that side of the ball. There's no other way to put it. I mean, I was doing mock drafts at the end of the fourth quarter, for Christ's sake. I was back to watching the game. I was doing mock drafts. I was already looking at, okay, they have the 3rd overall pick now. The Bills have the 3rd overall pick as it stands right now. Now, would they be more advantageous to keep losing and try to get the 1st overall pick? Hell yeah. Of course they would. Why? Because then they can hawk it for a bunch of other picks. That would be ideal, wouldn't you say? That's my goal right now with 7 games left is for them keep on your current trajectory, okay? I hope Josh Allen gets back on the field. I hope he looks good. I hope the team looks competent as much as it can, given the lack of talent offensively. I hope he looks as good as he can. Granted, he's going to have some of his mistakes, and that's fine because I can live with those from him. And I hope they improve their draft position exponentially. Exponentially meaning 2 more picks up, 1st overall pick, and that means you're picking boom, 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 1st overall in each of the rounds, and I'd be happy as a pig in shit because that means you hold the hammer, you hold the wheel, and you get to dictate terms. Oh, you want this quarterback? You want this? You want that? Come give us something for it because they know the team right behind them is going to be wanting a quarterback. You think the Raiders aren't going to take a quarterback with their top overall pick, given the moves that Gruden's made, the ego he has? The fact he had to sit around for over a decade and listen to how he won a Super Bowl with somebody else's roster. You don't think his ego plays a massive, massive factor into every decision he's made over there? Of course it has. So you think he is not going to want to get his handpicked boy? He's going to want to get his guy. The Giants are going to want to draft a quarterback. And if you're 1 or 2 picks ahead of them and you can get something from them, that's ideal. That's ideal. And I want to be in that position. That's the hammer I want to have. Because then you drop back and then you have more picks and then you can allocate more, more resources into the team as opposed to just, and you can still get a premium player. Okay, we get the premium position player and we have more picks. That's what I want. That's what I want. With 7 games left, that's what I want. I want them to get that first overall pick, and I want them to be able to dictate terms of the 2019 NFL draft. That's what I want, because that's what the first pick affords you. Now, if this year is flip-flopped from last year, then so be it. If this year was supposed to be last year, so be it. I don't care. They couldn't pass up a chance to break the drought, which they did. Was it with help? Of course it was. I don't care if it was. I've seen teams get tons of help getting into the playoffs, and it was the Bills' turn, and they did it, and I enjoyed it. And that's what sports is enjoyment, entertainment. And that entertained me, and I got enjoyment out of it, as I hope all of you did. And that's the end of it. Now it's 2018, where we're pretty much done with until Allen gets on the field. Again, hopefully, knock on wood. I had to find real wood. This is glass and metal in front of me. I mean, didn't people would be, yeah, morale. You'd have the media. Like, now you see the media flipping back again. Oh, the Bills, they were stupid for breaking the drought. Now the Bills shouldn't have broken the drought last year. Now the Bills shouldn't have done that last year. They should have been as bad as they are this year last year. They want to spin it every which way. Yeah, if it was, you'd be talking about McDermott not getting blown out. If the drought was still continuing and this was going on right now, you would potentially talking McDermott walking into a make or break year in 2019. And I'm going to tell you this right now. I think we're looking at a situation with McDermott like Cincinnati has with Marvin Lewis. And the reason I say that is who's coming to Buffalo? Right? Who's coming? Who's gonna stand up and raise their hand and say, I'm that new head coach. I want to come to the Bills, until the Pagulas put their foothold as owners that are willing to spend. And because they're relatively new owners, and they're bumping a lot of money into the building. They're bumping a lot of money into upgrades, and they've shown that they're prepared to bump money into coaches. But that, how much has that circulated just yet? How much has that germinated throughout the league just yet? And I think, and I know this isn't a popular thing, they need to ride this out with this guy, because he has shown he can keep the team focused, irregardless of how bad it is. In terms of, it was bad last year and he rallied them. It's bad this year, but it doesn't seem like there's a lot of division or dissension in that locker room. It's not like a situation where there was malarkey and on the offensive side and Jerry Gray on the other side of the room going crazy at each other. I just I don't think it's a situation like that where it was that ugly and that divisive. But this team definitely needs, I mean, we all know what it needs. It needs, take your pick, guys. You want an offensive lineman? You want a wide receiver? Where does that first overall pick go? Do you just say take the best player available, whether it's defense? I mean, you can honestly say that that staff needs to be overhauled. I think the staff, positional coach-wise, needs to be overhauled, because a lot of these guys were some of the same guys last year. Daboll's been thrown into it. Draft if it's I do not think, looking at McDermott and the whole DNA and character and all this stuff, that they're gonna. I mean, Nick Bosa is gonna have to have a workout for the ages. He's gonna have to blow people away in meetings. His talent is obviously, it speaks for itself, but he's really gonna have to do a lot of talking and in the right way to explain, like, hey, I had this injury. I thought it best to sit out and prepare for the NFL draft. And coaches, there's going to be some NFL people that aren't going to look fondly about that. It's just when this guy feels like something's not in it for him, he's going to quit on his team. And that's going to be the case. I think there's going to be some teams that are just going to look at that and shake their head, and they're like, we're not going to invest top yield for this guy. And that's what and my point in trading down is, if you have the first overall pick and you want to trade down, or that could be the case too. Let's just say the Bills stand pat and they're at 2 or 3 overall. Now, if you're at 2, you're going to have teams like Denver wanting to come up and draft a quarterback. You're going to have the Jaguars, who have clearly soured on Blake Bortles. I think his time there is come and gone. Maybe you get a team that wants to finally draft an heir apparent to a veteran, want to come up. So the Bills are going to be, I think, in an advantageous position to try to get big cock out. That's funny. They're going to be in an advantageous position if they stay top 3. But I preferably want to stay 1, because that's where you can really hold a team hostage and you can really get what you want. And I think the Bills need to be willing to do that. They cannot try to just rest on their laurels. They need to be able to play this to the bone and get the best possible yield for that pick. I mean, I'm all about trading down and gathering as much assets current and going forward. That would be the best. I don't think he's playing next week. I think the plan is for him is home in Jacksonville. I think they want him home at Jacksonville. And they just that's the plan as of right now. I think they're going to ramp up his rehab this week and want to have 2 full weeks to go in and see and then play him at home against Jacksonville. Maybe a team that's clearly divided. There's a lot of infighting in that locker room, and it's the team that I just alluded to might be interested in moving up to take a quarterback. I think there's going to be some guys that teams are going to be pressed into taking, whether it's Ryan Finley, Herbert, if he comes out. If the advisory board at Oregon tells Justin Herbert that he's going to be the first overall pick or one of the top 2 quarterbacks taken, or he's a lock, I don't think he can pass that up because of the injury rates, unless he's got to be some type of different kid to want to stay at Oregon. Daniel Jones from Duke. There's going to be guys, maybe Locke, maybe Greer. So there's going to be guys, teams are, and you see it every year. You see how these drafts right now, you see Bosa up there, you see Jonah Williams up there, you see a few guys, a few names, Ed Oliver. But then we all know what's going to happen come January, come February, March and April. Those quarterbacks are going to get bumped up that board. It's the same thing every year. You're not going to be able to sniff one of these guys outside of that top 6. Maybe this year, you're just not going to do it. And so for the Bills, they need to be in a position to be like, hey, we got the juice. You want the squeeze? We got to make a deal. That's it. And I want that. I want that. And they need that. And there's just too many needs. There's too many needs. There's needs on defense too, but offense is screaming for them. It's screaming for them. I think defense is a lot more, unless your offense has a completely elite quarterback where you can plug and play guys and he can make up for their deficiencies. Defense is a lot more. It's a lot more easy to do that. It's a lot more easy to just plug in a guy here and there and survive. But on offense, when there's a rookie quarterback and your offensive line is in the position that it's in or lack thereof, and your skill position players are just devoid of skill. You need to be able to have the best talent. You just need to. I mean, I'm all for I don't know how do I say your name? Snarl, but I think yeah, they were targeting him today pretty bad. Gaines. I had them taking Jonah Williams, the offensive tackle. That's who I had them taking because I mean you can't predict the trade up, so I just stayed at 3 and I took Williams, and I don't think you could say. I don't think you can get. I mean, it's not sexy, but you need something on offense, and I took the tackle. I read some scouting reports on him as the type of athlete he is, the type of competitor he is. He reads like a guy that screams McDermott, screams process, screams all football, and he's going to help their future, hopefully their franchise piece out and staying upright and staying healthy. I mean, it's obvious that you would go that route, and I think it would behoove them not to go that route because they need to be able to help this guy. And in turn, I mean, wow, their offensive line is so bad. I can't believe how bad their offensive line is. It's just really that bad. It is really that bad. Dude, Peterman is terrible. You're the only guy who believes in Peterman anymore, Corey. The only reason the guy played is Anderson was in concussion protocol. Obviously the organization doesn't believe in him because he's a guy that was with them all off season, named the starter for week 1, and they started a guy that they signed off the street with 2 weeks of practice. He is terrible. I went into a big. You can say the first 2 INTs are not on him, but the guy can't pop a grape with his arm. And you know what? You had 49 attempts today. Was it 49? And you got what? Not even 150 yards. And with all the whole second half was garbage time. That's 1. 2, the guy cannot throw a ball past 12 yards. So your offense can't function. Your offense can't move. Because the DBs just sit there and be like, hey, this guy doesn't have the arm to do nothing. So we're just going to sit and wait because the ball's going to come to us. Either the ball's going to be late or it's going to be in our vicinity. And we're going to be able to make a play either way. And you saw that multiple times. The ball was late or the DB was right there. Right there. It was that bad. At least, is that how low the standards are? At least they scored a touchdown. They couldn't give them away the touchdown. That they just he was terrible, and Benjamin's not good either. That shouldn't be the barometer. That shouldn't be the barometer. The barometer should be better. How can we knock anything the defense does? I'm not even going to get on Gaines today. They're on the field all the time. The defense is on the field all the time. They can't afford to have mistakes. Yeah, if they keep Tyrod Taylor 1 more year, they don't get that 3rd overall pick in the 3rd round. That they can't make trades. If they do certain things, they can't make the moves they did to trade up and get Edmonds, to get Allen. They're not making those moves. So he had no future with the Bills. Why are you keeping a guy with no future 1 more year? They do that all the time. It makes no sense. Yeah, they were gifted the touchdown. They didn't score it. They were handed. The Bears were like, please walk into the end zone. Walk into the end zone, please. Please walk into the end zone. You know, it's just frustrating. And then how anybody wants to air their frustrations today as a Bills fan. I mean, I can't say that's not the right way to do it. It was that terrible. It was really that terrible. This team is just so hard to watch. Yeah, it's with Allen hurt, wasting our time watching this team. But we're gonna watch because we love them, and that we'll suffer through this indignity, and that's just what we'll do. And it was just that bad. It was just that bad. The offensive line is putrid. And when there's time to throw, the quarterback doesn't throw the ball. And when he throws the ball, it's either late or it somehow finds its way into the opposing team's hands. So the one that Fuller picked off the ground, that's not on him either. Or the 49 passes where he only got 150, I don't know how many yards. The guy's reputation speaks for itself. He's horrible. He's a punchline. Nathan Peterman is a punchline. He's the butt of the joke. I'm sorry. I hate the fact he's doing it in the Bills uniform, but he is, and he needs to be put out of his misery. Misery, period. I can't even say the word right. He's so damn bad. Oh, wow. 190. Forgive me. 190 yards. That's crazy. They were the most quiet 190 yards I've ever seen in my life. They invested a first-round pick in Allen. Nathan Peterman will be released, and nobody will care. It'll be like, oh, thank God, save us all. They'll be happy. Allen's the first overall pick. That's a seventh overall pick for a reason. His physical ability, his arm, his size, his athleticism. Okay, so there's a complete and utter. Yeah, Anderson's a veteran. Are you, Corey? I have to ask you: are you related to Nathan Peterman? You come in every week and you just. He's just. You must be related to him because you come in and support that guy, and he could. I don't know. You love his work. He could work his ass off. He's terrible. The dude could fucking stay in the facility 24/7. He still sucks. He sucks. The guy's terrible. EJ was terrible. EJ's not in the league. When Nathan Peterman gets released, he will not be in the league. Everybody knew Mahomes was going to do this. Everybody knew. All of a sudden, I don't remember a fucking person. This is the thing about Patrick Mahomes. Everybody, he was, what was he, the 12th overall pick? 11th? Which was he? Whatever. Doesn't matter. Everybody knew this. What, so Russ could drink and sexually harass women? Yeah, great job. Under his stewardship, the Bills were. He was amazing. He wasn't the. Oh my God, your standards are so low, Corey. You need to up your standards. I'm saying this out of concern for you, bro. You've watched Bills football for too long, bad Bills football, and this is your barometer. It's terrible. Don't hearken back to the past Bills and say, "Oh, this is better than this." Come on. The guy didn't even have the balls to throw a Hail Mary. He didn't have it. He ran. And you come on and defend him? Oh, my God. Gutted the roster of what? No, he made $9 million a year, dude. And nobody was screaming. See, this is the thing. Nobody was screaming about them not resigning Woods. Nobody was screaming for the Bills to draft Patrick Mahomes. Nobody was. Now, it's funny how everybody wants to play like they're a genius and be a revisionist genius and be like, well, Patrick Mahomes, dude, how about the other teams that drafted out of the Bills that could have drafted Patrick Mahomes? How about them? How about the Bears? The Bears could argue that they drafted Patrick Mahomes. Right? I don't care about that. The fact is they were still bad. They were still bad, dude. That's your standard. Your standard is too low. 6-10 shouldn't be the standard. Chan Gailey football should not be the standard. Russ Brandon's stewardship of the Bills should not be the standard. Okay? Mario Williams should not be the standard. The standard should be that they drafted this kid, he gets in there and is given the best chance to succeed. And that's getting him in for the last however many games he can play, going into the offseason and allocating every resource thereafter to help him. It's that simple. We got to stop, this guy, that guy from the past, this guy, Mahomes this, Mahomes that. How about the half of the league? Dude, the whole league. Mahomes has a freak wide receiver. And granted, he's playing really good. Mahomes is playing great. I'm not taking nothing away from him. But he's got a top 3 to 5 player at each of the important positions. It's a lot easier to play quarterback. And who's his fourth option? His fourth option is Sammy Watkins, who, if he was on the Bills, he was their one guy. He was their ace. That's a hell of a barometer. See, your barometer should be there, dude. Your barometer should be the Rams offense, the Saints offense. That should be the barometer. The Chiefs. That should be the barometer. Not Chan Gailey. Not Doug Marrone. Yeah, I'm not taking anything away from Mahomes. He's played great. That's just coach speak, dude. He was good when he was told, but he's the fourth option in KC. He's the fourth option. You know what that means? A guy like Andy Reid says, this guy is the fourth best player on my offensive skill players. Tyreek Hill, Hunt, and Kelsey take precedence over him. But on the Bills, where the standard is low, and he plays besides like Charles Clay, Marquise, he's the best. Standards need to be higher. The standards need to be higher. This is what I mean. I'm not yearning for those years. I want better. I want better. Greg Williams isn't getting another shot. He's gone. He's not getting it. He's an interim coach who will be replaced. He's there to shit on a shitty situation. That's what he's there to do. They went out and lost today too. That's all Greg Williams is there to do. We're not going to sit here every time I do one of these, and we're going to go through the litany of all the Bills' failed head coaches and all their failed players. These people's plans failed, Corey. Their plans failed. They were there for multiple years. They failed with what they wanted to do, and they're gone. Time to let it go. Bye-bye. They're gone. Greg Williams, he's a coordinator. That's it. He's an interim. It says interim head coach. That means likely to be replaced at the end of the year. Russ Brandon will no longer work in the NFL probably. Ever again. In this climate. Never. They put up a fight. No, there's still an L next to the car. There's still an L. An L is an L. I don't think he's getting back next week. I really don't. I think the plan is for him to be back for Jacksonville at home. That's the plan. I'll tell Bills fans that. Do I want to see him this week against the Jets? Of course I do. But I honestly think it's going to be against Jacksonville. They're going to want to have all that they're going to have that extra time, and they don't want to rush him back. And I don't blame them. I don't blame them. You don't want to rush him back just to rush him back. Now, if he practices well and he shows that he's able to get back on the field, I'm all for it. But I'm not going to get a hard on to rush him back on the field and risk anything else happening. So they dodged a bullet. It was a freak little thing that happened. It wasn't due to his just getting hit, being oblivious. Fucking Clowney put some hot sauce and look after he threw the ball. Period. Go watch the hit again. The ball was well out of his hands. I think I forget. Whitney Merciless hit him from the back, and then I know Clowney hit him from the back, and then Merciless came in from the front. You know, so that's what I think. Do I think I don't know what I don't know what to think of Daboll. I don't know what to think. Dude, I wanted to see Barkley at the end of the half when Nathan Peterman decided to run instead of throwing the Hail Mary because he was too scared to throw another interception. He went Trent Edwards on everybody. He went Trent Edwards. He said, you know what? I'd rather take off with this pass, this ball in my hand, than throw it and get another pick. It's not about Anderson. You don't understand. It's not about Derek Anderson. Nobody cares. He's there to do different things. He's not there to play. But we don't need to see Nathan Peterman play either. We don't. There's nothing to gather from that. We saw. It's not good. Just playing him is embarrassing. That's it. It's that. Would have gotten 25 yards. Oh, my God. Here you are, dude. Trent Edwards wouldn't have gotten 25 yards. That's just, dude, you really love Nathan Peterman, bro. Did he sign an autograph for you at some point? He is nice. He's a nice guy. I'll give him that. Yeah, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who starts. I mean, starting Peterman's a joke, but, I mean, in all likelihood, Anderson clears protocol and he starts. Oh, Corey, your standards are so low with this guy, dude. You're so low. I would outright sign Cordell Stewart. Dude, they're 2-7. The season is what it is. They're not signing anybody. They're not signing Sam Bradford. The season is done. It's about Allen getting back on the field and finding out what he can do. That's it. And trying to get him. That's it. Yep, Jason B. God have mercy on us all. You did get one from Trent and Fitz. See? I think Trent could have got 25 yards. I definitely think Fitz could have also. Fitz is good. He's a scrappy bastard. Still in the league. I give him credit. I give him a lot of credit. But man, you got a Flutie? Yeah, Flutie would have got that 25. Flutie would have walked into the end zone. It was terrible. Today is mind-numbing, and it makes you want to jump off of a cliff. But it's just there's no point in signing anybody else. There's no at quarterback. There's no point. This offensive unit is bad. Getting Allen back on the field. Now, if they outright just release Kelvin Benjamin, would that shock me? No, but I think that he's probably going to stay on the team till the end of the year because they want to give Josh Allen the best supporting cast they can, given in the 6 games that he's going to hopefully he plays in. If he starts playing against Jacksonville, they'll want to give him the best opportunity to succeed. Oh, how about Travis Brown? Gail Gilbert? You could bring in his son, Garrett Gilbert. I can really go back in the archives of bad Bills quarterbacks, dude. You can go Billy Joe Holbert, the guy who admitted he didn't study the playbook. It was like a Week 9 game against the Patriots, and he pretty much said, "I didn't study the playbook," and he got released right after that game. I mean, why wouldn't you? They were pathetic. I mean, if you're not a Bills fan, it is sad. I mean, I've seen them all. I've seen Rick Strom. I've seen Todd Collins. I've seen all the bad ones, man. It's Alex Van Pelt, who's kind of a storied Bills quarterback for some odd reason. Bring him as the offensive coordinator. I was shocked that they didn't let Pryor throw it at least once, man. I was shocked. Another guy. I was shocked that they didn't, because they got cute last week with Anderson. And it's just that pathetic. The team offensively is pathetic, and What do we talk about? I mean, that's why it's the title of the video. We're on to 2019. Talking about this game makes no sense. The game was terrible. Quarterback by a guy who's not long for this league. Some offensive players that are probably not long for this league unless it's in a backup capacity, namely offensive linemen. Chris Ivory got hurt, which is unfortunate, but it's you can't gather anything from a game like this. You just got to play it. You watch it, and yeah, you watch a game like that, 45-35. It's like, and this is going back years. This is going back decades, man, where you want to watch one of the best games of the week. It wasn't a Bills game, not even close. You had to go watch the 4 o'clock games, the primetime game, the Monday night game. Maybe one of the other 1 o'clock games had something going on. It definitely wasn't a Bills game. It was that shitty. And that's why, like, dude, I'm doing mock drafts at the end of the game. I'm doing like I'm putting Jonah Williams in Penn as a Bills player, like literally, because I just it is Trevor. I mean, that's a perfect way to put it. It's like they're not playing. It's not even like they're playing. It's like they're playing in the same league, but they shouldn't be. They're not playing the same sport, or they're trying to play. It's just they're not talented. It just comes down to that. The best way to explain it is they're not talented. They don't have the talent. They don't have the talent to execute whatever the coordinator is trying to do. I think there's too much of a mishmash on the staff. I think the staff needs to be streamlined. If they're going to keep Daboll as the offensive coordinator, it needs to be totally under his purview. It needs to be his guys. And that's it. At least the 2 games they won were with Josh Allen at quarterback. That's it. That's the best part about it. I don't know Shady. Shady just looks like he just is in disbelief right now. And I feel bad for Shady. I feel bad for Kyle. I feel bad for Lorenzo Alexander. But again, we're Bills fans. We're in it for the long haul. We're going to be Bills fans for life. Granted, they're Bills players. And but it's just they went out and beat the Vikings, man. They did it. Everybody's trying. I don't see the team giving up. I mean, defense, they're definitely not giving up. It's just offensively, they just don't have the talent. And I think there's some coaching issues. I think offensively, they need a complete overhaul on offense. I think they need to allow Daboll to make it his staff, his guys, his people. That's it. And they need to surround Josh Allen with as much offensive talent as possible. That's it. It's case closed. It's case closed. And they need to focus all their energy into that. That's the only way to put it. It's not like they're playing. I don't think they're just not talented enough to play at that level. They're not good enough. Nathan Peterman doesn't belong in the NFL. Kelvin Benjamin is just a lazy, lackluster, unpassionate player. That's it. Russell Bodine is a guy that the Bengals let walk away because he's not good enough. And they drafted his replacement in the first round. John Miller is the guy the Bills drafted in the 3rd round by another regime who's just was replaced last year by Vladimir Dukas. And Dukas played okay at right guard, but at left guard, he's not been able to replace Richie Incognito. I think Jordan Mills plays as hard as he can, but he's just not good enough. And he's lasted a long time around the Bills, but they need an upgrade. It's time to upgrade. Peterman's epitaph has been written, Corey. I've had enough time. I've seen enough of Nathan Peterman to evaluate the 13 interceptions and not even 150 pass attempts. Okay, I think I've gotten that. I don't care if the 2 picks are off this guy's hands. The fact is, the guys on the field, turnovers happen. Irregardless of how they happen, they happen. I can make a lot of the same excuses for a lot of quarterbacks. And sorry, I have to send a quick text. Sorry about that. But it's excuses. At the end of the day, it's excuses. Trent Murphy didn't play, but I don't know if we had their coaching staff. Is the fact is they don't have their talent. Todd Gurley is arguably the best running back in the league. Andrew Whitworth has been a perennial Pro Bowl offensive lineman. Roger Saffold is a well above average offensive lineman. I think it's Halberstam, one of their other offensive linemen, is a good player. They have good players on their team. Robert Woods is a solid receiver. He's a really solid receiver who's happy to be back home in California, and he's playing like it. Brennan Cooks is a really good player who's a first-round talent, who's had organizations trade first-round picks to acquire him because of his physical ability. Cooper Kupp is proven that he can play in this league at a really high level and is surrounded by other good players, and he benefits from that, but he plays really, really well. Jared Goff's a first overall pick, so there's stuff there to work with. There's stuff there to work with. That the whole goal is I want them to get, like I said, Corey, I don't think you were here. It's creating space, Trevor, and they don't have the talent to create the space. Talent creates space. All sports is about space. Sports is space. Your ability to fill, it's about voids. You either fill or create or cover. Can you cover ground or create ground? That's it. Boxing is the same way. I was taught in boxing, the best boxers have the ability to create and cover ground. That's it. Can you create space or can you cover space? That's it. Every sport is like that. Tennis is like that. It's all space. Football is space. It's a space game. That's it. Defense, their job is to fill voids in the space. Offense's job is to create space. That's all space is. It's just like baseball. It's space. That's what the shift is. It's filling space. I think that I put he's the offense that I can put two starters right now in pen down for the Bills offense in 2019, and that's Josh Allen and Deion Dawkins, and right now Zay Jones is in pencil. Outside of that, this team needs 3 receivers. They need a tight end. They need a running back, and they need 4 offensive linemen. That's just the crux of it. They don't. Who are you signing, Corey? That's the thing. They had to wait for a guy to be released, and you don't sign a guy in week whatever. He's not going to make a big impact on your team. You know, Charles Clay now is a waste of money. It's proven to be a horrible contract. The offense is devoid of speed. They're bereft of. I mean, I can't repeat it multiple times that we're watching a unit that is bereft of talent. Shady might be on the downside. How do we know? The offensive line looks terrible. He looks like he's frustrated. He looks like he's trying to force things. At this point, Corey, what we'll see now is this is the way things happen. Teams usually make coaching changes around the bye week, and then they start to make big roster changes. They start to already plan for the next year. And I think we could assume, I think we should assume the Bills are in 2019 mode. I think we can all agree on that. Can we all agree in the room the Bills, as we are on to 2019? Pardon me while I don't want to disturb my kitten. This looks like a pork chop too, doesn't it? But he's in my lap. Yeah, of course. We're all in the 2000s. They are too. So practice squad. Whatever you want to do. Whatever you want to do. I don't think the team wanted to be this bad. And you know what? I don't think Gruden wanted to be that bad either. I think Gruden's ego gets in his own way. But I'm not here to talk about John Gruden. I'm here to talk about the Bills, and I'm here to talk about 2019. Now, if the Bills drafted an offensive lineman, his name is Ramius, Christopher. It's Russian. I want to ask him if he hacked any. Did you hack the Bills' offense today, Ramius? Because it was fucking terrible. Sorry, I had to. When in doubt, we'll blame the Russians for how bad the Bills' offense. I want to say that if they draft an offensive lineman, if they draft an offensive lineman with their first overall pick, would people be upset? I mean, who are they tried to sign Miller. They tried to sign John Brown. He didn't want to come. They tried to bring in a couple other guys, a couple other receivers. They didn't end up signing. Remember last offseason, they tried signing Macklin. He declined, went to another team. They had Eric Woods on impromptu retirement after handing him a contract extension. Richie Incognito loses his fucking mind. The quarterback situation being what it was. They didn't want to pay a bunch of money just to have a guy and say, hey, we got this playable veteran. Look what Arizona did. Arizona paid $13 million. $13 million to Sam Bradford for 3 games. And they released him. Yeah, Bolden walked out the door last year. He walked out. He's like, I'm done. Ramius needs he'll be ready for 2019. Ramius said he's not going out there till he gets in the weight room, gets his diet right, and he's ready for 2019. I'm taking him in the weight room with me. I'll get his weight up. He's on the 2019, and he'll be ready to roll. Okay, enough of him. He's probably pissed. He's like, put me the fuck down. He's like, he's mad I already made him sit through the game. You know, that was his first Bills game actually in the with me here. No, he might have been his second. You were here you were here last Sunday, bro. He was here. Yeah, I'm tired of this rebuilding things, man. I think 3 hours, 2 minutes of the kitten were better than the 3 hours of the Bills football, though. I mean, it was that bad. Everybody overpays, bro. When you go into free agency, you're gonna so-called overpay for guys. Wait till the CBA. Wait till 2022 when the new CBA comes in, and you think you're overpaying now? Woo! Wait. When that TV money is what it is, you don't think those players want it? When every time you see these guys go down, that could be their last play of their career. Come on, man. That's how free agency is. When's the last time the Bills had? And I don't want them to go ham, because in 2020 they're slated to have the most cap space. They're gonna have like $130 million. So they're gonna have 2 back-to-back off seasons where they're gonna have in excess of $100 million in cap space. And then this offseason, hopefully they have a top 3 pick. We have to sign 2 offensive linemen, right? And we have to sign 2 wide receivers. I'd like Quincy Enunwa or Terrell Williams. I don't know about Funchess, but I like Williams and I like Enunwa. I watch being here in North New Jersey, the Jets are on all the time. I don't care how good or bad the Jets are. And I watched him a lot when he was with Fitz. I watched him a little bit with Geno Smith, and I watch him here with Darnold. That guy plays hard every fucking week. And granted, he's had some mystery issues, but Quincy Enunwa plays hard. And he goes up and he catches passes and he tries to make plays. He really does. I give him a lot of credit. Like you know, for a guy who was a converted tight end from Nebraska, he plays really, really hard. So he's a guy, you know, he's still relatively young. Terrell Williams, I think, is, you know, you look at his size. You know, who says they're going to let him leave? You know, now you know what happens. You know what happens if you fire the coach, then that's what happens. Then guys start leaving, and then it's like you're on. That's why you're constantly rebuilding. You know, granted, those coaches proved they were not good enough. They were not good enough. Gailey wasn't good enough. Marone quit. Was Rex good enough? Was Rex good enough? No. That's McDermott's predecessor, as well as the others. God, I fucking hate Tom Brady, that piece of shit. Josh Gordon. Was that Josh Gordon? I think it might have been. Son of a bitch. I think we lose next week, though the Jets bullied us around last year. I think the offensive line cannot handle serious pros. Well, yeah, I don't want to dumpster dive the Panthers. I want to go out and get the best players. I want to get the best players. I like what I've seen from Terrell Williams. Granted, he's got Keenan Allen on the other side, so Keenan Allen draws a lot of attention. Granted, you know, he's got Phillip Rivers throwing him the ball, but still, he looks like a young stud. A young stud, you know, that's 6'3", 6'4", 215, 220, that plays hard. That guy, I'd like him. A Nunwa, I'd like him. You know, throw Zay Jones in that mix. Yeah, draft a guy. You know, there's a ton of good. This receiving core look good. Excuse me, that's coming out looks nice. They look like a solid group. So it's weird. Everything that was kind of considered light last year is pretty deep this year. Like offensive tackle, Mike McGlinchey was the first guy. Then the guy the Raiders took was the second guy. Obviously, Quentin Nelson went top 6, but it wasn't considered a deep offensive line class. He was with them 2 prior years as an assistant head coach. And what are they now? They're 3. What are they? 3 and 5. They're 3 and 5. Orton just was there for the payday. What do we care? Orton was a scab. That's all Orton was. Why are we talking about Orton? Yeah, but I don't know. They just need talent. That's all I'll say is this team is bereft of talent. And when the Bills had skill position talent like Robert Woods, like Marquise Goodwin's proven to be in San Francisco, where he's finally found some health. You know, Sammy a little bit being like a number 2, number 3 option in Kansas City. Shady was younger, had more tread on his tires, but Tyrod was the quarterback and he held them back. They were able to get, they had a top rushing team. The offensive line was better with Eric Wood, Cordy Glenn, Incognito. The right side was a little shaky, but still they were backed by the quarterback. That's my issue. Bean was not there when they. Corey, your timeline is screwed up. Bean was hired after McDermott. Woods was not staying. Wood was an unrestricted free agent. UFA. He was leaving. You want to keep him? You franchise him. Did you want to pay $15 million for Robert Woods? That Hogan was not Bean. That was Whaley. Remember? Whaley was there. They didn't re-sign Hogan. That was 2016. Remember last year? It was Gillislee that went to they tendered him. Was Mike Gillislee that went to the Patriots? No. Bean was hired after the draft. Bean was hired after the draft last year. You want to try to you're trying to blame people. Get the timelines right. McDermott came in and had a mess. He had to clean up the mess. Everybody was fired in the building. Slowly but surely, just as I said, slowly but surely, he clean and you saw Russ got himself fired this past year. Russ got himself fired. Did you want to pay him $16 million for a guy proven who wasn't healthy? They didn't have the money. They didn't have the money. Then you're paying $16 million for one guy that you don't have the money for. If they're gonna do it their way. And did you see the interview Sammy Watkins gave? I'll try to find it where he said earlier in his career he was selfish and he was a mean guy. That he was a me guy. Now, do you think that sounds like the process? Do you think that sounds like what McDermott wants? Do you have Sammy Watkins himself saying that he was about his ego and he was a me guy? That's from Sammy Watkins. That's not conjecture. That's from himself. I'm going to find the article and put it up in my Twitter timeline. Hogan, and I know Corey's looking up Chris Hogan. It doesn't matter because McDermott was the one making the picks. So Matt Milano, good player. How about the free agency class? Jordan Poyer, Micah Hyde. Whose guys are those? Whose guys are those? You can't pay a guy who. What was the narrative about Sammy Watkins? Everybody would have went fucking ape shit crazy as Bills fans. Oh my God, it's bad enough they traded 2 first-round picks. We're gonna sign him to a franchise deal now. Oh my God, Darius. Everybody loved when Darius got traded, but when the Bills had problems stopping the run, everybody wants to be like, why did they trade Darius? Everybody wants it both ways. Everybody wants to play revisionist history of fucking, who's that guy? Great Gazoo with the big head, the genie in a bottle. No, you can't get it. You can't have it. It's like the guy who wants to bitch about the play calling after the play was proven to be not work. But when the play works, it was a great play call. You can't both ways. People want it both ways. Hauschka was a solid. There was solid signings, yeah. Now they didn't. Everybody talks about they haven't sunk big money into anybody on offense. They haven't sunk money to anybody on offense. Well, Starr is a good replacement because Starr isn't infecting girls in Texas with herpes. And he plays as hard as he can. He keeps his mouth shut. And he still doesn't make as much as Marcel Darius. Darius was a good run stuffer. He was hurt and off the field because he was suspended. And he didn't try hard. You like Peterman because of his work ethic, but now you're advocating for Darius. You can't have it both. See, you want it both ways, Corey. You want to spin the argument when it's convenient for you. You want a sloppy fat fuck who obviously could care less about the Bills and just the money he played him. That's all he cared about. And wearing his captain's hat. That's all he cared about. Whatever his skippers from fucking Gilligan's Island hat. That's what Marcel Darius cared about. It's like Mario Williams who wanted to play with his drones and his race cars. Is just I can do that too. I can sit here. Yeah, but he checked out. He was done. He checked out. You're right. He's done. He checked out. He said, "Fuck it. I'm done." Skilled fat guys, they do. They need guys with skill. I don't care if they're fat, skinny, big, and different. I don't care. They need guys with skill. They need talented players. Darius is a talented player who doesn't care, and therefore he just behooves himself. What do you think Jacksonville's going to do with Marcel Darius when they can get out from underneath this contract with only $2 million in dead money? But if they keep him on their roster, he counts $10 million against their cap. They were going to release Marcel Darius. Okay. Yeah, same work ethic. He has no work ethic. Why are we talking about Marcel Darius? Gone. Bye. Traded. They gutted the roster. What was the roster worth keeping? They were 7-9. They were a crap team. I don't think he's gone. I think they view him as a guy. They want to keep some veterans around. You heard McDermott say they want to keep veterans. They want to have a mix of veterans and rookies. They never want to go too young, too old. They want to be somewhere in the middle. They want to have a guy that's a senior leader in each of the rooms. Kyle's gone after this year. Lorenzo's probably gone. It's McCoy for the same reason. I still feel like he's getting nothing going on because the offensive line has been so bad. He's frustrated. He's pressing. Everybody's keying on him to stop him. He can't get anything going. So it was just that. It's almost like offensively, there's really nothing you can do except wait for it to be over. I don't think Kyle's a nice guy. I think he was talented. Kyle Williams got the most out of his ability. You know, he's been a multi-time Pro Bowler. He plays hard. He plays out of his ass. Is he a nice guy? Yeah, because he doesn't create problems and post about his life on social media and bitch. I mean, that's just his personality. Not everybody's the same. He's a guy who's injured a lot, Nick. I don't know. He's going to want a lot of money. Tevin Williams, I mean, I'm not a big fan of sinking big money into running backs when you see, like, maybe you can get a guy like, Kareem Hunt in the 3rd round. Maybe you can draft a guy like a Kelsey in the 5th round. You can find these guys. You don't need to spend. I'm tired of the Bills funneling their offense through a running back. I'm tired of it. They need to build it through the quarterback. That's where it goes. And I'm not saying have a running back by committee or anything like that, but they need to have, I think the cornerback, the way this league is, you're going to just find a good enough guy and roll with it. Because Trey White's your number one, and you go with it. You need to find skill positions on the outside. You need to find skill positions on the outside. Yeah, they didn't have a quarterback, bro. They had no quarterback to punch back with. When you don't have a quarterback, it's fine. You're getting beaten. The same guys that were punching the Bills around then are still kicking now. They're still the good quarterbacks now. Tom Brady twice a year, Ben Roethlisberger. Even the B level quarterbacks could still beat the Bills. The B plus quarterbacks would beat the Bills. Jimmy Graham almost made a one-handed touchdown catch. Shit. They need to get receivers. They need perimeter players who can stretch the field. And what did I say? Create space. They need people who can stretch the defense, make the safeties have to respect the space and fear it. They need to take advantage of Josh Allen's arm, or the fact that Josh Allen has the arm to get the ball to said receivers. That's what they need to do. And in turn, that's going to make average running backs look good. Why? Because they have more space in which to work, because the safeties and the corners aren't squatting, because everybody can move faster. This guy has a big arm. He can throw it over our heads very easily, and he can move. This creates a problem. Space. We have to respect that. We can't cheat. We can't play up. We can't not respect this. We can't not. We have to back up. Nate Peterman at quarterback with said current receiving core. No speed. No space. That's simple. I don't mean to sound snide about it. It's simple. It's that simple. These guys cannot move. Oh, thank God. Green Bay just tied the fucking game. It's just this team they need a massive, and I'm just going to keep repeating, they just need a massive infusion of talent offensively. And remember when the Bills, and then when you have that and the quarterback is able to develop and become better and get some confidence, he doesn't have to worry about getting his head taken off. And I want them to draft the best offensive player they can with their top pick, whether it's a lineman or a skill player, or if they trade back and they need to go back and get the best player that they can offensively, whether it's a lineman or a receiver. Even if they trade, they need a lineman or a receiver and go with it from there. That's it. They don't need to waste their time, with anything else. And that'll get us excited again. Them changing up the offensive staff will get us excited again. And we know this sucks right now. It's boring. It's terrible. Me talking about it that's why I haven't done a few videos in a few weeks, because what else am I going to come on and say? Corey, do you think I want to come on and talk about Derek Anderson? Do you think I want to talk about Derek Anderson? There's no reason for me to talk about Derek Anderson. The same reason there's really I want to interact with you guys, because I like talking with you guys. The false hope, the hope is Allen develops, and the way he develops is he has better players around him. The Bills aren't in a position to put better players around him right now because they're 9 games into a season, and they're 1 game out of a bye. Then that's when you're going to see changes on this roster, like I alluded to earlier. You're going to see them start picking up a few guys on waivers. You're going to see them cut a few guys. You're going to see them tweak the lineup a little bit. You saw it today. You saw Jeremiah Shirless coming in at right tackle, and you saw Wyatt Teller coming in at left guard for Vladimir Dukas. I mean, that should tell you something right there. They're going to start making changes. They're going to start making changes. No, they shouldn't panic. Do you know why, Trevor? Because every time when somebody wanted to start making changes and there was a little rough patch in the water like that, they would flip script midstream. And that was a Russ McDermott production, a Russ Brandon production through and through. Oh, that's not going to sell this year. How do we get the Yahoos in the building? How do we get them to buy in? Lead the charge. Feel the rush. Oh, what are we going to do? That's always what would happen. They would flip script. You know? No, but I know you saw my comments. It was the same thing. Dude, I don't have the energy to get mad. It's like, what am I going to get mad about? It's like, I know Peterman sucks. I know Derek Anderson's a scab. He's a backup. He was a guy who wasn't even signed to play. He was there to help try to mentor Josh Allen. He was there to try to help stabilize things, give them a veteran presence. Yeah, I mean, you think I would ever forgive that fuck for that? What do you think that was about? It was a money grab, and it was the organization saying, hey, you guys, you better buy tickets or we can move over here. It was a two-pronged fuck you to everybody. I hated it. The defense is not, yeah, Eric. I can't talk about defense. You look at the score, 41 points. The offense handed 17 of those to the team. It was about 20 of those. But when your offense is terrible, it doesn't matter whether it's 10 points, 17 points, 21 points, 41 points. You're not going to win. When it's under McDermott's and Bean's stewardship, they need to see that this is, I know that they're sitting up in that box and they don't like what they're watching, and I know it needs to change. But I'm glad it's as bad as it is, because it illuminates, okay, we really need to go all in on offense. Because if they were sitting up there false hoping it, and like, let's say it's Josh Allen's not on the field, that's number one. Number two, if they were false hoping it and winning games like Tennessee, or Or let's just say Peterman brings them back and they win that Houston game. No, he threw 2 picks, 2 bad interceptions that fucking ended it, killed them. Because Benjamin looks like a clear, just like he doesn't care, but there's just not enough talent on the team for it. That's it. Andre Holmes is playing third. Andre Holmes gets burned on the Bills. That just tells you Andre Holmes, he's terrible. I'd have to say the Bills. I've seen those other teams score a few more points. I think, I can look at like a David Johnson. He's a top 5 arguable player at his position skill wise. Larry Fitzgerald is always going to give you 1,000%. Jordy Nelson's still very serviceable. Derek Carr's going through a rough patch, but I think he's an okay quarterback. I just think Gruden's got his head all messed up. He's got that whole team's head messed up. So it's the defense's fault now. If they recover the fumble, Peterman doesn't throw INTs. It's the defense's fault. Peterman, with ball in hand, everything's everybody else's fault. Yep, remember who's? I remember he caught the ball over Corey Graham's head too. Yeah, I mean, you look at the Browns; they're bad. They're bad, and look at the Browns. They've had top 5. They've had top overall picks, and they still suck, man. What does that say? Their organization's rogue. Telling you from the top down. And when everybody wants to laugh about the process, everybody wants to talk shit about that. Everybody wants to, you know what? The Haslams are bad owners. Bad owners, and they're meddling. Now, the Bagulas have given the reins to McDermott and Bean, and they're letting them do their thing. And that's just the way of it. So right now, they're just going to roll. It's going to suck now, but you know what? I don't think that it's... Don't worry, I put that guy in timeout. Turkey's not till a few weeks from now, dude. Turkey's not for a few weeks. I'm trying to read some comments in here. Trying to read some comments that mean something as opposed to ones that are just, somebody like trolling. Like you're here in a Bills chat room talking about people being horrible. And it's like, or the Bills being, yeah, we know they're not good. We know offensively they suck, but you're the one coming in here to do it. So you're wasting your time doing that on something that you say is horrible. It's like what do you want me to do? I can just remove you from the chat. That's it. Simple. Oh my God. Yeah, nobody cares about the Browns, dude. Like the Haslams are bad owners, and they've proven to be. See, that's when people want to say you fire McDermott, and you know what? Then you start being the Browns. When you start saying you want to fire McDermott, that's when you end up like the Browns. That's when people like, oh, we're going to get blown out there in a year or two. Why are we going to sign there? Then who are you getting coaching? Browns got all the money in the world. Haslams will pay it. They've always drafted high. They've got a quarterback that they drafted first overall that might be talented, but who's going to go there knowing that they can get blown out in a year or two, knowing how volatile the ownership status is there? Why would they go? That's what I'm saying is like when people talk about culture and process, it's a bigger thing than just the product on the field. It's the building. And the building for a long time at One Bills Drive, yeah, there was a lot of people with their own agendas. Russ had his own agenda. The personnel department had when things would get hot had their own agenda. The coaches would. Everybody was looking to save their own ass. Everybody was looking, well, let's be the Messiah who breaks the drought so we can stay here for another 5-10 years because everybody here has low standards. That was the goal. That's not my goal. That's not my goal. The goal wasn't to break the drought. That's nice, but that's not the goal. The goal is to win a goddamn Super Bowl. That's the goal. It should always be the goal. So it would be terrible. It would be stupid. It would be absolutely stupid. I don't think he only cares about the D. I think that's where his expertise lies, and I think that's where they felt like they can get the players that'll help them the most at that particular time. That's it. Exactly, the owner. So it doesn't matter who goes there. At some point, the owner is the guy who signed the checks, and the owner is going to have final say. And Pettin does a lot of talking, so he didn't help himself. So this isn't a Browns chat room. We're not talking about the Browns. I don't think this team, you know, we're not looking at the Bills. And now if we're talking about 4 or 5 years, this full-on, you know, this is full McBean. This is a full McBean production. It is now. But if we're talking about 4 and 5 years from now, or at the end of next year maybe, and it's hopefully not, but if we're talking about 4 or 5 years, and I think that's what they're going to get. That's what they're going to get. They're going to get, we're going to see a situation where it's like a Marvin Lewis situation because he's going to get a lot of time, all the time he wants, because who are you going to get to come sign on? Who are you going to get? Because it's like, okay, the owner is going to blow us out in a couple of years. Because he's an owner, because that's his first hire, and Rex is a charmer, and he made a mistake, and he ended the mistake after a year, at the end of year 1. I wouldn't. I'm saying you're going to see a situation. I don't think that it's, dude. I'll say, look at Green Bay, look at Johnny Z, look at Green Bay. They get players to come there. They get players to come there. If you have a quarterback and you have money, people go to money. They don't care. You're always going to pay. You're always going to pay. Everybody overpays. Everybody thought the Rams overpaid for Robert Woods. Everybody thought everybody thought KC overpaid for Sammy Watkins. Everybody thought they overpaid. Look at free agency. Everybody thought the Dolphins overpaid for Ndamukong Suh. That's Miami. They have a legacy. These guys don't give a fuck about legacy. They've got 3 to 4 years. They care about their goddamn signing bonuses. That's what they care about. Fuck legacy. You would too. These guys are independent contractors. A team could cut them like that. Like that. And you know what we'll sit and say as fans? Oh, it's what's best for the team. These guys think about that shit. These guys just aren't little caricatures that we play with on Madden. They're real people. And they have real concerns. And of course, if you're going to get a bigger fiscal number from one team over another, you don't care if it's in Buffalo, Green Bay, Seattle, Miami. You don't give a fuck where it is. You don't give a fuck where it is. You know, they don't care about the weather. They're just going to go. They don't care. They don't care. I mean, that's it. Now, at least his mobility allows him to move around. And everybody's at risk of getting hurt. So if you just want to hide behind guys getting hurt, then it's like, why play football? You know, why are you playing football? You're scared of getting hurt? Oh my God. No, that's not the way it is. Green Bay is a very small town. Green Bay is a tiny little town. It's a very quaint, very, it's a small town. It's not a city. You know what's funny is, dude, I can, because your message is held for review. And the fact that you went on and fucking created another account just to try to troll, my nigga, you're so fucking lame, bro. What are you, 12? Like, really? What are you, 12? You're like a little child. Can't block me now. Dude, seriously, you're probably some little punk. Again, like, you need to go stand in the corner. Like, baby, you get put in the corner. You probably don't even know how to wipe your ass. You probably don't even know how to do that right. God. If I go quiet. Well, that's another thing, is everybody wants to say, like you guys are talking about golf, right? There's a perfect situation. Everybody wants to, there's another guy everybody wants to go on their, they want to walk on their knees in front of Sean McVay and service him orally and not anoint him the new wonderkin of offense. And I'll just keep blocking you, dude. That's it. I'll just keep blocking you. That's it. I'll just keep finding them. I'll just keep blocking you. That's it. That's it. You just go right back in the timeout. That's it. And you just go away. That's it. And you know what's funny? The funny thing about you turkeys is, if you're watching on one of your other hack sites, is nobody else can see your comments but me. So you're not disrupting the chat, dickhead. that's the funny part about it. So the joke's on you. I can see the shit you type. The other people can't. So go watch porn or something, dude. No, you don't have to tank on purpose. The team is not good offensively. But like I was saying about McVay, I'm not saying McVay's not a good coach. He looks like he is a really good coach. He walked into a team. Look at the talent he had. He had the first overall pick at quarterback. He had Todd Gurley, right? And they had Aaron Donald. They had three premier guys that the team had drafted that were on their rookie contracts, and he developed. So that's it. I mean, and that's the situation he walked into. McDermott walks into a situation, and I'm not apologizing. I'm not apologizing. They had no quarterback, and they've shown that because they were willing to walk away from Tyrod and sign Brian Hoyer. Tyrod chose to take a pay cut to stay. They didn't have who they were keeping, who was going to stay, who was going to go. The organization internally, the way it was a mess. They had to clean that up. They had to get Whaley out of there. Russ running around there trying to save his own skin. They wanted to fire him after the whole Marone debacle, but they decided to keep him. So it was always a house of cards with that. And I'm not going to, I'm not trying to be an apologist for what they have or haven't done, but those two situations are alike, so I can't compare the two. But everybody who wants to get, fall to their knees and, oh my God, they could have had this. They weren't going that way. They weren't going that way. And yeah, maybe Buffalo is a hard sell. Maybe it is. But that's got to change, and it's got to change with somebody somewhere. I remember there was Buffalo that different when they could attract free agents back in the 90s or the early 2000s. A guy like Takeo Spike said, I want to come to Buffalo. I want to get the fuck out of Cincinnati and come to Buffalo. He said that. There was other guys like London Fletcher who came from the Rams where they had won a Super Bowl. He wanted to come. Okay? There was guys that wanted to come that could have made big money elsewhere. They wanted to come. Is it that different? No, you paid. They paid. At the time, they paid big money for those guys. They're going to pay big money again. It's just the way it works. It's just the way it works. And then next year, it's going to be even bigger money because that's the way it works. Every year, everybody gets shocked about the contracts. And then every year, everybody bitches about, oh, the NFL players don't have guaranteed contracts. But then they bitch about money that they pay these players. Like, you want it both ways. Complain about the money, but you complain about the money they don't get. But then you complain about the money they do get. I'm sorry, I'm just going off on tangent. I can't believe I've been on here for almost 2 hours. Wow. I really have no life. But I really appreciate you guys. You guys are awesome. Even the troll, like, who's wasted his time doing 2 things, creating like 2 or 3 accounts to come back in here. That's the sad part. But the chat seems like it's frozen up. I can still see myself moving, but I don't see anything in the chat. I hope maybe if it reloads, or maybe everybody just stopped chatting or just moved on. So, all right, guys, I'm gonna jump off here. Oh, there's Corey. Yeah, that's every 15 years, bro. Every 15 years. Yeah. Best save the draft is a long way. Yeah, dude, it'll come like that though. You know, the chat is moving again. Yeah, I mean there's a lot of that. There's a lot of people who don't even watch Bills games, and there's a lot of that's the Bills' own fault. They've had such an anemic football team, particularly on offense, for a really long time. It's been average to middling, and then you have this new influence of political agendas and political opinions and people talking about Terry Pagula and then that whole piece that they did and the Kaepernick bullshit and yada, yada, yada. So it just, again, no, I thought the chat froze. So that's why I was going to skip out. I didn't want to, it wasn't reloading or recycling because every so often it just tanks out. But see, again, you were a Dolphin fan of my dad, and apparently he asked my dad if I could switch to the Bills. Oh my God. That's funny. Yeah, see you next week, Corey. I don't want us to win any meaningless games either. I want the first overall pick, bro. That's what I want. I want the first overall pick. That would be like you get the hammer, you get the first overall pick, and then you can kind of go from there. But if they, I mean, I'm not going to be mad if they win. I'm never mad if they win, and I don't root against them. It's just like once they start playing, I don't care who the quarterback is. I don't care who the receivers are, the offensive linemen are. I root for the team to win. And I just can't sit in good conscience and root for them to lose. But it's always in hindsight you say the games are meaningless, right? You always say that it's like last year. It's like it'd be like us last year saying them breaking the drought, ending it was oh, that's meaningless. That didn't matter. They shouldn't have done that. Hell no, they did it. Thank God they did it. So, all right, guys, I've talked your ear off enough. I'm gonna let you guys go. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Watch the second half of this game. Hopefully, it turns out to be. It looks like it's good. Unfortunately, Patriots winning right now, but you guys have a good one. Take care. If anything comes, any good news about Josh Allen comes on during the week, I'll pop on and do a quick chat. Hopefully, you guys have a good start to your week. Take care. Love all you guys for always coming in. All the regulars, you know who you are. Even you, Corey. You come in and bring it, bro. I'll give you that. You bring your your history and your love of Peterman aces every time, bro. But anyway, love you guys. Take care. Go Bills always. Good, bad, or indifferent. Hopefully it really stops being bad. 2019. This chat's really bad today. It's like doesn't want to bad responsive. Make them slow chat. I mean, these buttons are just bad. The stream.